Who here likes video games? I personally love them. I've been in love with video games since I was about 5 years old. My sister owned The Sims and often played it in our dinosaur computer downstairs. I watch over her shoulder. She never let me play, of course. And see her design her Sims' lives, like from what they looked like, where they lived, even down to like picking their careers and spouses. Um, my thinking here is that I grew up on video games. I thought that they were the coolest thing in the world. And I honestly think that I learned a lot more from video games than I even really learned in school, to be honest, especially about morality, friendship, things like that. And then also in the sense of my health. I actually think that video games are not harmful, but actually beneficial within actually beneficial to your health in many, many, many ways. One of those ways, studies have shown, especially within my generation, I was born in 1998, and the generations preceding and following my own, there's an increase in serotonin and general good mood boosting whenever you play a video game. When you pick them up, according to sciencemadefun.net, dopamine motivates you and excites you. Then, later when you think of the game, serotonin zooms across your brain, reinforcing the connection that video game equals happy, which in turn leads to an increased desire to play and to relive that feeling. Video games work similarly as some find escapism in a book. It's kind of like a portal to a world where things like responsibility, taxes, and stress, such as work, no longer exist. Other general benefits could include, according to a study published in 2012, that video games improved about 69% of psychological therapy outcomes, 59% of physical therapy outcomes, 50% of physical activity outcomes, 46% of clinician skills outcomes, 42% of health education outcomes, as well as a load of other helpful percentages to show the difference in care when video games are used and when they are not used. However, a couple things that can happen, there are of course downsides to it. One of the most obvious ones that are typically brought up is obesity, especially within children. There is that well-known misconception that those that play video games are overweight or lack any physical activity, and while yes, that is very true for many video game enthusiasts, it's not the case for many others, and it's actually the opposite now can be more said as VR games, virtual reality games, and XR games. According to LSU's Pennington Biomedical Research Center, XR gaming at home elicited high adherence and improved children's BMI, Z-score, cardiometabolic health, and physical activity levels, which is amazing, especially considering that typically in the past, video games were seen more as a lazy person's hobby. And so another thing, another argument to that video games would be good for your health is the other one, which would be video game addiction. As with everything, it's very easily to get addicted to it, and when video games provide that escapism, that outlet for people, they tend to fall into it. It can be a bit of a dopamine spike, similar to how some people might describe like a drug. And especially for children, to the point where some might not be able to differentiate between reality and reality in the game anymore, which is also a heavy concern. However, they also have multiple advantages in your regular day-to-day life, though, and as well as the government using easy-to-use frame shooting games to help train soldiers, drivers taking advantage of racing games to help understand how streets function. Not how driving works, but how streets function. And then, I mean, there are many advantages, though, to utilizing video games, both as a source of learning and as a source of exercise and health. So, in conclusion, yes, video games are super enjoyable, very useful for multiple reasons. There can certainly be some issues and concerns if they're not enjoyed with some self restraint and moderation, but like anything that's enjoyable, that plays that comes hand in hand. I think that everyone should give video games a shot if they haven't, as there's some incredible worlds waiting out there demanding to be explored. And I want to thank you.